Alright, I got a little carried away with that video earlier. It's a part 2, my battery went out. But I was talking about the jerseys and how it's a trend. You know, like how usually trends end. Well, I was saying back then, you know, there was a jersey trend when I was, when I was younger, middle school, high school, whatever. All these kids were wearing jerseys. They don't even know anything about sports, football, basketball. Mainly basketball was pretty big. But that trend went away, and I'm a big sports fan. One day I would like to have all these jerseys, and I would like to hang them up and put them in frames. Well, I was ended up getting a bunch of jerseys for hella cheap. I mean, real dirt cheap. I mean, I'm talking about $5, 10s, some of them $50. Mitchell and Ness, and anybody who knows a Mitchell and Ness jersey, they run about $300 and something. I've gotten legit Mitchell and Ness jerseys. I've gotten 2. The one that I still have is a Larry Bird one. The only thing about those is that they were, what was it, like a 56, so I think it was like a 4X, 3X, not even my size, but I didn't care because I was going to frame it. So yeah, I got one of those. It was an actual authentic one, it's really hard to find authentic Mitchell and Ness jerseys. The same with the Nike jerseys. The Nike Rewind jerseys back then, I believe they ran about $90 to $100 some. I mean, they're pretty expensive, and the quality was good. I'm a big fan of stitched jerseys. I don't really like that print on bullshit, because you wash it and bam, it's already all fucked up. So I was a big fan of the printed one. I mean, not a big fan of the printed ones. I was a big fan of the stitched jerseys. Actually something that took the quality. Quality was there, and it would take a while for it to disintegrate or mess up. But yeah, I ended up getting a bunch of jerseys for hella cheap, man. Dirt cheap. I mean, I've gotten some real good ones. Mainly throwback jerseys and shit. But like I was saying, as a regular, if anything with a trend, it usually dies out. If anybody really likes shoes, a bunch of kids are into it now. Because that's what it is. It's a trend. And they're buying all kinds of shit. I mean, if I were to sell half my collection, I'd be getting a couple $1,000s. I mean, this is no bullshit. They're just spending money on anything. I mean, the biggest example for me right now is the foam posits. I mean, because it's one of the most expensive shoes for retail, but resellers, I mean, are just banking on it. I mean, this is a shoe that if you were to go on eBay, I'll say 2006, 2007, you would be able to buy the shoe under retail. I'm talking probably $150 for a foam posit that costs somebody $230 with tax included. You're able to get it under retail, and some of the guys that might watch this video or been around for a while would understand that. And they're like, yep, he's right. I mean, you can buy the shoe. You're able to get the shoe under retail. Now you can't even get the shoe. You can't even get the shoe at retail. You won't even find the shoe at retail. If you can't get it the day of, you ain't getting it. You ain't getting it for the price you want to pay. You might get lucky on a restock or whatever, but even that's an iffy decision. I wouldn't be waiting on an iffy decision for a restock and end up hitting them up. So that's what I was going about. Just wait around. If you really like these shoes, the resellers, I mean the stock. I'm losing my mind. I'm half asleep. The trend will end. Trust me. I mean, it's at the golden era right now. It's probably at its point, at its peak. It might be going up a little bit more, but it's gonna go downhill. And the shoes that you want, you're gonna be able to get, real cheap. I mean, I'm not talking about like $50 cheap. I mean, probably a lot under retail. Maybe you pay if a shoe costs like a foam posit, for instance, costs $220. You might be able to get it for $150. It's gonna go like that. Jordans, I wouldn't bank on it, but Jordans, the most expensive Jordan for resellers back then for me, as for looking for them, was the 6s and the 11s, because those were the ones that took forever to be released. Now that they've been re-released, you'll still be able to get it, around $200. But that was the most expensive shoe that I can remember to date. That was really expensive to get. Really the 6s, because the 6s were never re-released until 2000. So when they finally came out, when they, like 2009 or something, 9 years later, 8 years later, the demand wasn't, everybody bought it, and you were able to I mean, like, you know, the threes, for instance, they keep coming out, you know, every other year or so, every 2 or 3 years. Like, what was it? Another pair just came out with a Nike Air on the back. I didn't get it, but it was like $200. But, you know, like I was saying, you know, they just keep re-releasing it. Because Jordan Brand knows they have something right now, you know, so there's probably going to be more shit up on the way. Now that they know for sure that they got people wanting to buy all this Nike Air on the back and all this other stuff, you better believe you're going to see a woodworker shit coming out real soon. You know, it takes about a year to process, you know, most of these shoes. If you ever look inside your shoe and you see the date that it was made, you know, it takes about 6 to 8 months before they produce it, and then they send it over here and they make sure that we have it. So the whole process takes about a year, so you'll be seeing a lot more shit. Same with foam posits. They're being made right now that we don't even know what colors they are. Any shoe, really. So there's a lot of shit they're going to be sending out. Because they sent out a lot of shit this last couple of years. I mean, this year, just to start off, I mean, I spent a lot of money. I mean, I haven't bought every single release, but I bought a lot of releases. So just stick with it, man. You know, it's funny that I think about it. Because back when I was in school, you know, there was only about a handful of people that got, you know, like certain shoes and specialty shoes. I'm not talking about, you know, like damn, I don't know what it is, but it was only a certain amount of group that had like different pairs of shoes. You know, they got multiple shoes. I guess you could consider them a sneakerhead. I don't know. I don't like that term. I just got shoes because I liked them, and I wasn't able to, you know, get them. My parents weren't able to afford them at the time. You know, they just got me a pair for Christmas and a pair for my birthday. That's all I ever asked for. I was like, oh, I want some shoes, you know, and that's what they got me. I was never able to get Jordans. You know, Jordans are pretty expensive. I got them when I was younger, when, you know, I had, you know, kid sizes. But when I got older, the men's sizes, you know, the prices were, you know, too much. I don't blame them. You know, I took care of, I usually got a lot of Adidas. That was probably what started off for me. I got a lot of Adidas Superstars. I really liked the colors. That's probably the shoe that really started off. You know, I used to buy a bunch of Adidas Superstars with different colors. I still got some to this day. I got some silver ones, you know. I like the collabos they do. I haven't bought any recently, but they do some good shit. But yeah, I mean, if you really want the shoe, you know, this and you can't get it at the time, just wait. You know, it'll come back to you if you just keep looking, but for the right price. I wouldn't just say bite on anything you see and get it. You know, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get that shit. You just wait, man. Just be patient. You know, and by no means am I rich. You know, you know, all of this is due to discipline. You know, I have it on the mark. You know, this is what I wanted. You know, the dates. You know, and I have the money to the side. That's how I usually did all my releases. Even whether it be in the position that I'm in now, that I'm in a good position that I can buy multiple shoes without hassle, without worry. But you know, it all deems from discipline. If you discipline yourself, you're able to get what you want in life. This doesn't just come from shoes, clothes. It goes from anything. You know, it goes to women, it goes to cars, it goes to owning a house, whatever you want to do. It all starts with discipline. If you have that in order, you'll be able to do anything you want with yourself. You know, that's what I like to think about it. I'm more of a motivational speaker. You know, that's what I used to my cousin. You know, he's always down in the dumps, and I told him, hey, look, man, just wait. Yeah, it'll come to you. You know, I used to be like that. I'm like, man, fuck, I can never get any of this shit I want. You know, well, you know, look what happened. Fast forward a couple years later, I was able to get most of the shit that I wasn't able to get back then.